Hi everyone, it's Miss Naima. So welcome back to another video for your class key text from the chapter book of The Secret Diary of Jane Penny. So let's get reading. So we are on page 53 and it's day 23 in Jane Penny's diary. I am so excited I hardly know where to begin. I have been photographed. Yes, me, photographed. My head is all of a spin. I never ever thought I would be in a photograph. Can you believe it? My likeness will be captured on special paper like what a lord and lady's likenesses in the finest of oil paintings. Of course, I won't be on my own in the photograph when it's ready, when it's developed. Mr. Kirby Trot gave instructions that all of his staff, each and every one of us, be brought together and photographed in one picture. My mate Mary says it's so that he can show off to all the other toughs how grand he is with his grand house and all of us running around doing his bidding. But I don't care what it's for. I never dreamt I'd be in a photograph. There's a little number 43 there, and let's see what that means. Photography was a relatively new invention with the result in black and white, or black and brown, or also known as sepia. Britain's greatest contribution to photography came from Fox Talbot in 1800 and 1877. He invented a process where many copies of a photograph could be printed from one negative. And when all our servants came together in our best work clothes, you would not believe how many of us there is that works here. My eyes nearly popped right out of my head. I've been here a good few weeks now, and I thought I'd seen most of them, but it's like a whole army. What does Jane refer to as a whole army? Let's read. In Victorian Britain, more women and girls worked as servants than in any other job. Okay. The photographer is a man called Mr. Wimpole, and he was dressed all in black with a most shiny silk top hat. His photography equipment, his camera and that, is the most beautiful polished wooden fine brass fittings. He had some kind of black velvet cloth at the back of his big square camera on a stand, and he disappeared under it before taking the picture. The way I understand it, it all has to do with light. He has some big photographic plate at the back of the camera, and when the light goes through the lens, it hits the plate at the back and somehow magics the image onto it. It's a miracle, is what it is. John Langley, the first footman, let's see what a footman means. So, footmen were often chosen for their height and good looks. Originally, running footmen ran on foot alongside the master's carriage or stood up on the back of it. Later, they became domestic servants in the grandest houses. One of their functions was to show off the master's wealth or importance by the very fact that he employed them. So John Langley, the first footman who can read and write, had been given a great long list of all the jobs we servants do, and he called them out and Mr. Wimple decided where they was to stand or sit. That's why Langley called out the jobs and not the names, because Mr. Wimple had no way of knowing who does what, and apparently where we stood or sat was really important. John is very tall, which is how any footman gets his job in the first place, and why we call him Long Johns. So, what does long johns mean? Let's have a read. So, long johns are underwear that cover the legs. He looks right handsome in his livery, and he knows it. So, what's a livery? A footman's livery was his uniform with breeches or trousers to just below the knee and stockings. Their jackets had tails and were often covered in brocade. As you can see in this picture, you can see that Long John, um, or the tallest footman, is wearing one of the uniforms. He struts like a cock pheasant. What's a peasant? Let's have a read. A cock pheasant is a male pheasant. Pheasants were bred by the gamekeeper on a large country house estate so that they could be shot for sport during the hunting season. The second footman, plain footman, is also called John, so we called him Jack. I don't know why, but people christened John often end up being called Jack. Same way that people christened Henry often end up being called Harry, and William sometimes becomes Bills. It don't have to make sense, it just is. I like Jack, the name, and the second footman. He's right friendly with everyone, with a smile to match. Afterwards, Long Johns let me have the list as a record of me fellow workers what keeps the wheels of Mr. Pritchard's. Well, I suppose Mr. Kirbytrot's empire turning. So this is a list of all the worksmen in the Lytton house. Okay. Nanny Brown weren't in the photograph, but she was looking after Master William as usual, and Master William couldn't be in the photo because Mr. Kirbytrot wouldn't be happy having him in a photograph full of servants. That would not be proper. Apparently, there used to be even more servants here at Lytton House. Cook told me that not all the rooms are used normal, so they don't need cleaning daily. Furniture is covered in big white dust sheets and the curtains drawn. Mary says she went in one once and it were all atmospheric and ghost-like. Maybe anything under a white sheet looks like a ghost to her, except perhaps a bed. I, for one, cannot wait to see the photograph when Mr. Wimpole returns with it. Mr. Pritchard has promised us that we shall all have a look-see. Okay, that is your reading done for today for your Kasky text. So get a pencil and paper ready to jot down your questions. So let me just have a review. There it is. And let me just quickly find the page for you. So here are the questions for you to answer from the pages that we've just read together. So pause the video and jot down the questions if you need to. So question number one is, what was the name of the first footman? And you will find your answer to this question on page 57. And question number two is, what was the name of Master Williams's nanny? And you will find your answer to that question on page 60. So if you want, you can always rewind the video and go back to the pages that we've read together to look for your answers. Good luck, and please make sure you put your answers on Tapestry so I can have a read. Thank you very much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye.